our Thought Leadership webinar series. Now, at Parasol Alliance, we are a technology company exclusively serving senior living communities. And we created this Thought Webinar Leadership series. This is our fourth one, to make the most of your time at your senior living communities. We know the people who run them, you all, do not have a lot of time to sit around for hour-long demos. So we decided that we would provide 5 demos within 1 hour for you. And they all are around technology solutions that could potentially benefit your community. So we have robotics to share with you, accounting services, and also we have lighting that matches your residents' circadian rhythm so they can get better rest, and a senior engagement platform, as well as robotic companion pets. And look out for the end of the meeting. I'll give some more details about our next Thought Leadership webinar series. But first, I wanted to introduce our first panelist. His name is Sanjeev Shetty, and he is the CEO of HelloGard Robotics. So, Sanjeev, I will make you the host, and you can go ahead and start with your presentation. Thank you so much, and we look forward to hearing everything you have to say.
Awesome. Thank you, Katie, and thank you all for joining. Hopefully you can see my screen and hear me okay. I will put this in slideshow mode. And here we go. All right, so I'll try to keep this short and sweet. I know I only have 10 minutes, and it's Friday afternoon, week before Christmas, so we'll try to keep this fun. A little bit about what we're going to talk about today. Basically going to cover who we are, why we exist, and what we're going to do to help you guys as communities. Some common use cases within senior living. We'll walk through some testimonials, some of our most popular products, as well as what you can expect to see out of HelloGard in 2024 looking forward. And then I'll take some questions at the end. So real quick, HelloGard is close to 2 years old. This is our small team. A lot of us come from senior living, including myself. We do have some techies on board. For example, our CTO has a long history with Dell. He actually designed the Dell motherboard. So he's, as they call it, a tech geek, but we have a lot of senior living folks that come from the industry. So we know this industry really well and the inner workings of it. So a little bit of background and set the stage as to why I formed HelloGard. If we just look at the labor issue as a whole, these are some statistics that I've pulled. 85% annual turnover. It's pretty large. Obviously, the other number that stands out here is 70% of the assisted living operators are reporting significant severe workforce shortage, and it's not getting any better. And also 67% of employees tend to be more productive at work when they're happier at work. And this will tie into some of the work that we're doing at HelloGard Robotics. But if you just look at the healthcare side for a second, there's a huge shortage of healthcare workers. I mean, the US alone, over the next decade, I think the number I read was there's going to be a need for 400,000 nurses. And clearly that pool doesn't exist. And going to short-term help or outsourced help isn't sustainable. It's actually quite expensive. So there's got to be a better solution, and that's where HelloGard comes in with our suite of solutions that include both robotics, AI, as well as workforce automation. A little bit about us. Our mission is to be your one-stop shop for all things robotics. We believe that robotics will revolutionize how we live and work. And we're trying to figure out what that coexistence looks like with the different robots that we sell. We have over 20, and we have done years of research as to what those best-of-breed robotic solutions are. And I'm going to present to you some of those today. But the three main areas that we kind of work in are interactive robots. Those can be greeters, they can be working in a healthcare setting, connecting residents to doctors or caregivers. We work with delivery robots, both indoors as well as outdoors. By the way, all of our robots work with the three top elevator companies, Otis, Kone, and ThyssenKrupp, and they also have automatic door openers. And then we have a lineup of cleaning robots that do both indoor cleaning as well as outdoor cleaning, whether it's your parking lot or your driveways. The idea behind the three categories is that they allow you to be more efficient, more autonomous. They're very personalized. We believe in high tech, high touch, and they're extremely user-friendly. At the very core of who we are primarily a workforce automation and software company that happens to be selling robots. So in our software suite, we have what we call as HelloGard Care. That includes a product called RoboWise, where we do a virtual remote site assessment to make sure that your facility is equipped with everything that's needed to be robotics ready, as I call it. We also, install it. We have installers in all the 32 major cities, so we're within hours of any of your locations. We provide robotics as a service, so if the robot is unaffordable, we do have ways for you to lease it from us. We build apps on top of the robots, and we have several SaaS products that we'll be launching in 2024 that includes vCare Companion, which is a nursing assistant, Room Runner, which is a room delivery service with a built-in app, as well as VR and AR products. What you see here is a bunch of different use cases, everything ranging from dining options to cleaning options. The picture up on top is us at Leading Age. We had a pretty good following there. In fact, we had one client actually buy the demo robot that we had that you see in the picture there. We have a robot that does advertising. The one at the bottom is a scrubber. We have interactive concierge type robots, as well as outdoor robots. So they really cover the full gamut in terms of use cases. I'm going to show a short video of what you can expect to see with the vCare Companion. This is a little teaser video.
180 pounds. Would you like to exercise today? Breathe in to your legs. Very good.
Now I can even get a checkup without having to go to my doctor's office.
Pretty good, Sam.
Don't sound so surprised, Doc. I've even started cooking. I guess you can teach an old dog new tricks. And my kids really like that they can get in touch with me anytime.
Hi, Dad. What's up?
Just taking my meds, sweetheart. Like I said.
That's a little teaser. We do have, this is a testimonial that we recently did at Leading Age, coming out of Leading Age at Beacon Hill.
All right,
And
hey,
he's
everybody, we're
the
here
CEO and
with Jeff,
operations
CEO,
lead.
and April, operations commander. And we're here to get their thoughts on the new ST50 sweeper bot. Let's start with you, Jeff. What are your thoughts? What have you seen so far? What are your impressions?
I think behind every piece of machinery is a really competent staff. So when April and I were at the conference in Chicago a few weeks ago, we ran into you, Sebastian, running this machine up and down the floor. What we found was something that we thought would change our world here. We're filled with employees, carpet, residents all over the place. It's just a perfect opportunity for us to both gain. So through the sale of this robot, we're going to see 600,000 square feet of carpeting cleaned automatically. And I think we're going to save tons of money. I mean, the machine itself is going to be paid for over and over again just by the years of use that we're going to get out of it.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeff. How about you, April?
I'm excited for the efficiency it's going to give our staff for spending more time in resident rooms and not having to pay so much attention to the hallways. And also wear and tear on their bodies. It's really heavy to cart vacuums around down the long hallways that we have. And
Right.
I'm really excited about the positivity it'll bring to their jobs.
Awesome. Well, thanks for giving us your thoughts, April and Jeff. We hope maybe, more brothers and sisters in the future. All right, thanks, guys.
So that's a little testimonial. Real quick on our robots. Our Temi V3 is an interactive robot. It comes with an SDK kit, so you can build all kinds of apps on it. In fact, we're building VCare Companion with the Temi. The Cinobot, the big takeaway is that it's the only one in the industry with a 3D LiDAR, which means it won't get lost. And it can be, we can troubleshoot it remotely. It also comes with a NVIDIA AI chip. And the Keenan series, the biggest benefit there over some of the competitors is that it's most stable on steeper grades. It's most stable with liquids. And it also has a table tracker and larger trays. So that's something that people gravitate towards when they look at dining robots. I really like the Keenan W3. We're looking at this for our Room Runner product. For delivery, it's got 4 compartments. It talks to all the major elevators that are out there. And it also can be configured, if you want 2 compartments or 4 compartments, you can configure it accordingly. This is another product that we're launching. It's an AI avatar. This can be used whether it's a storyteller in a waiting room, an assistant to help with doctor appointments, an exercise coach. The activity directors really love this product because it's very interactive. You can customize the face to be whoever you want. And it's pretty much an avatar. It's an AI avatar, so you program it to your content. This is something that we'll be launching in 2024. It's called VCare Companion. I talked about it a little bit earlier, but I'm excited about this because it's really a comprehensive virtual care companion that allows your nurses really to do less on a day-to-day basis and spend more time with their residents. And there's a lot behind this, beyond the robotics. There's sensors and there's fall detection, et cetera, as well. But I know that I'm tight on time, so I'm going to end here and open it up for questions if there's any.
So Dave, we will, I will give Sanjeev your contact information and have him reach out to you so he can answer the question for you. Our next speaker will be, Sanjeev, thank you so much for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful presentation. And our next speaker will be from Paymerang. Paymerang is a financial and payment automation tool. Mike Doer will be presenting on that.
Well, I'm Mike Doer. I'm with Paymerang. I'm our vice president for our senior living division of our business. And, first and foremost, I just want to thank Katie, you and the team in Parasol Alliance for hosting this and helping to keep our senior living communities at the forefront of technology. Everything, we know that practitioners want to do everything they can to improve the quality of care, their business operations, but increasingly they have fewer and fewer resources and are being asked to do more and more. So as you mentioned, Katie, we help our clients automate their payments. So we're about 10 years old as a company. We have been in the senior living, working with senior living communities for about the past 3 or 4 years. We made a decision in actually 2019, December of 2019. We saw a lot of opportunity to help folks improve and automate business practices in this industries, and made a decision to, really start working with more and more senior living communities. Then, as we all know, the pandemic happened, and this industry was dealing with a lot of challenges. And I'm glad that we kind of stuck to it because we were able to help a lot of folks continue to serve their residents when they were dealing with all kinds of challenges. And we're proud of how we were kind of able to step up and do a small part to help folks. So today we work with, we have communities in over 22 states. We actually work with Beacon Hill at Eastgate as well. So there must be something causing folks to automate in the water in Grand Rapids there. And we help folks automate their invoice processing and their vendor payments. We work with all different kinds of organizations, from CCRCs to nursing homes independent and assisted living communities. And our tools for the finance office work seamlessly with all different kinds of general ledger suites, whether you're using point-click care, Sage Intacct, Matrix Care, Microsoft Dynamics. We're able to come in and use our cloud-based software and solutions to help you and your team automate. So why start now? Why focus on automation in the business office? Well, Sanjeev did a great job earlier of talking about the issues that folks have had in the industry when it comes to hiring, recruiting that nursing staff. I think, and we see folks in the business office are dealing with that similar kind of crunch when it comes to workforce. It's getting harder and harder for finance controllers and CFOs to find enough, kind of people, and they're dealing with increased turnover as well. So our tools can help them deal with those kinds of issues. It can help them also improve the accuracy of their business operations. Instead of having humans typing things into your general ledger, when you're working with Paymerang, you have our AI tools and OCR tools that are scanning invoices, and direct with a high level of accuracy, getting those items into your general ledger system, and helping you track items, around the community, right? So you don't have an invoice that's just sitting in someone's desk for weeks at a time, and then by the time it gets to finance, it's already late, and you've got a penalty that you're going to have to pay. So with our tools, it's going to give your teams better financial controls, the ability to see what's going on throughout the organization, and ultimately pay vendors faster, more efficiently. And that's going to overall reduce your costs of operating and help you, instead of being overdue where you've got a penalty, you can meet terms and potentially take advantage of more discounts as well. So we have three core services, and I'm just going to provide a quick overview of each of them. Payment automation, invoice automation, and our purchase order automation solution. So what does purchase order automation allow you to do? Well, if you're not using POs today, and oftentimes we see reports that show that senior living communities sometimes struggle to make sure that different departments and different pieces of the organization can remain within established budgets. Part of that's inflation, the increased costs of doing business nowadays. Part of it's controls as well. So if you look at purchase order automation, this is going to help your organization, create those purchase orders before something gets purchased, route them for approval, assign the correct budget item, and then ultimately make sure you've got digital stamps on these items. When you're dealing with paper, it's much easier for someone to come in, forge a PO. I think we've all seen movies, right, where folks do this. That happens in real life too, right? So when you're using our solutions, it's someone who's signed in with dual factor authentication. They have, so that it's them who created the purchase order. They're, validating that it's all accurate and then sending it off for approval within the organization. And then when the items come in and an actual invoice is received, our clients aren't just hand keying that invoice information into their general ledger system. They're actually using our invoice automation solution. What our invoice automation solution allows your community to do is you're able to have your vendors send their invoices into your department, into your finance home office as an attachment. Our system reads the information on the invoice, scans it top to bottom, left to right, lets you route it for approval within your organization, and then ultimately post it into your general ledger system. So this saves you time. You're not doing as much typing. You're able to process many more invoices than you could before. And if you're using our PO suite, you can also match these invoices to items that have been established in the PO module as well. And this is just kind of an overview, of those steps that I talked about, but this should be familiar to you all if you do finance. This is sort of what an invoice has to go through, yet with our tools, you're doing a lot of this digitally. payment automation solutions. Most senior living communities we talk to are cutting checks to pay vendors. Checks are what we find to be the riskiest and most fraud-laden form of payment. They're easily forged, they're easily intercepted in the mail. What we do is we help our clients with a simple file upload from their general ledger system and a funding transfer to their Paymerang bank account. We can help you actually pay your vendors with virtual card, ACH, and check payments. Instead of your teams having to issue and draft all these payments, we draft them off of for benefit of accounts. You can think about it similar to payroll. You do payroll, you say ADP, here's our 200 employees that we have, here's how much each one of them is owed. You send a report to ADP, you transfer the funds, and then you have ADP pay your vendors and suppliers. When you're using Paymerang, it's a similar process. You send us all the settlement data from your accounting system, you transfer the funds to our bank account, and then we turn around and pay the vendors via virtual Visa card, via ACH, where we collect and store the banking information. You don't have to do any of that. Process the payment to the vendor, and if a vendor wants a check, we'll do that, and we'll reconcile that check as well. So this is just kind of a high-level overview of what that looks like. And so our clients, they're uploading a file, transferring funds, and then we're handling everything. They're not having to issue another manual check in-house unless if they, of course, really want to. And then these, again, are those kind of disbursement options that we have, virtual card, ACH, or check for those payments. And like I've mentioned a few times, I won't sort of repeat this too much, but AP is all about work and risk. And those are the two things that your folks are managing in this department. And with these tools, we help them become more accurate, become more efficient with their time, so you're able to get funds to your suppliers. What does it take to get up and running, and what does this cost? Well, first of all, we have great customer support. We're world class on that front, and it usually takes about 30 days to get our solution up and running, any one of these. 10 hours or less of your time to implement, because you're leveraging tools that are cloud-based, that come right out of the box and are ready to use. And again, we're very familiar with your services. So that being said, I think I'm right at the 10-minute mark. So Katie, I will, do I need to turn this back over to you at this point? Again, thank you all so much for your time today.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mike. I really appreciate that. And our next presenter is a lighting solution, the one I mentioned that is helping residents balance their sleep better with the circadian rhythms. And he will explain it better than I got tongue twisted and tried to. But our next presenter is Neil Cannon from LEDdynamics. So Neil, I look forward to hearing your presentation. And Mike, wonderful presentation, and we greatly appreciate that, all the information you provided. So Neil, you can take it from here.
Thank you, Katie, and thank you to the Parasol Alliance for arranging this wonderful event. We're very happy that there's so many participants. I'll try and share screen here and see if we can, let's see, share. Neil Cannon, I'm the CEO of LEDdynamics. We have a very specialized and interesting technology called Perfect Light, which I'll explain how it works in the subsequent slides here. The sun is really our ideal source of light as humans. We evolved under it. It's a changing light source throughout the day. In the morning, we see relatively dim light and relatively amber light. In the middle of the day, we see much more blue light. And then in the evening, again, it returns to amber. And that really is just an artifact of the path length the sun takes through the atmosphere. In the morning, it's a long path. In the middle of the day, it's a short path. And out of that, the blue light, which is part of the overall spectrum, light is really a combination of colors, gets filtered out. So in the morning, you have very little blue light. In the middle of the day, enormous amount of blue light. In the evening, very little blue light. And our bodies have adapted to see that signal. We'll go into just how that works. But what does this do to us? We actually have a melatonin cycle that follows the sun. In the morning, we wake up, melatonin drops off rather dramatically. We reach maximum alertness in the middle of the day. In the evening, melatonin initiates, and we all become sleepy and we go to sleep. Now, there is a bit of a problem. Like this graph here on the right is probably from somebody in their mid-20s. But if we look out over time, as people age, they produce negligible amounts of melatonin. It doesn't mean that elders can't sleep. It doesn't mean that they have inadequate melatonin to fall asleep, but they do have a greater issue with sleep disturbance, wakefulness during the night. And this is often the time when incidents occur, accidents happen. So we really have to look at this rather carefully. Even if you look at what's been studied and how it's been studied, we can discuss a lot of light's effects on people, and many of them essentially are influencing sleep. But perhaps the most noteworthy one to draw attention to for this group is that Alzheimer's, dementia, has had a long clinical observation that those patients who sleep well do well in their managing their disease. Those patients who sleep poorly, unfortunately, do not. They tend to perish faster and have a harder time with the disease. So there is some kind of link there, and a great deal of research is going into showing how that all works. But of course, it's a complex topic, and creating a study long enough for any kind of chronic disease is a challenge. So what is this sensitivity to blue light? As it turns out, we have a third sensor on our eyes. We use rods and cones to give us spatial awareness, but we also use a system that has an intrinsically photosensitive retinal ganglion cell, which is only sensitive in the blue part of the light spectrum. It's a relatively recent discovery that this is how this works, but let me go into how it controls us. All of the light that enters your eye actually does not wind up at your visual cortex. Some of it signals these intrinsically photosensitive retinal ganglion cells, which communicate to another part of the brain, the suprachiasmatic nucleus, which is really the clock of our bodies. That turns on and off our pineal gland. So it's very simple. A lot of blue light, the pineal gland is signaled to produce no melatonin. No blue light, suddenly the eye realizes it's starting to get nighttime, and we respond to that by creating melatonin. Very interesting system. Why is sleep so important? What's the big deal with getting a good night's sleep? Why is it just a control valve for almost everything? Well, in 2012, a group in Rochester got interested in this, and they actually started looking at brain activity and how brains functioned. There are 25% of our energy, quite a lot of our energy winds up in our brain. So we create a great many metabolites in our brain. We make a lot of waste products. And unfortunately, our brains lack what's known as a lymphatic system, which is the rest of your body's way of clearing these waste products. Unfortunately, the brain doesn't have this. It operates in a completely different way. And this is what it does. In deep sleep, more or less the end of the sleep pattern, we have an incredible ability to increase the interstitial spaces in our brains and clear out those waste products, avoiding things like brain fog, which I think many of us have tried to cure with espressos and Red Bulls at various times. But the fact of the matter is you can't really regain very much because your body during wakeful periods does not do a tremendously good job of flushing those waste products out. So this is a huge clue to researchers understanding why brain chemistry is as it is, and why a deep sleep is necessary to really get these brain functions to be well optimized. Now there's starting to be an increased awareness of blue light and its impacts. Many of us have these devices like iPads and such, and normal operation has a large blue peak in its behavior based on the LEDs that are in it. But fortunately, the manufacturers have put in a night shift function to reduce that blue peak. This is a very good idea for people who use their devices late at night, which I'm one of those people. So I have everything on night shift. And what is it doing? It's diminishing the blue peak, giving you less of that light that signals you to stay awake and allowing you potentially to sleep a bit better. But our system is quite different. Our system, our perfect light system, is really advanced circadian lighting. It automatically adjusts all of the light around you to match the light that is outside during the day. And in doing this, you can see a diagram of actually how it was constructed there by our CTO. We've been able to, by a combination of LEDs, get to not only this sunlight inside, but we can also do very, very accurate, what's known as color rendering. So an object you look at under our lighting looks basically the same as it does outside. So simply said, we're very high on the color rendering index. So how do we accomplish this? We make a combination of lighting that in the morning has very much that diminished blue level at sunrise. And then throughout the day, it builds in its blue content till noontime when maximal alertness should be on the way. And then we take it back down again in the evening, both in spectrum and intensity. It's important to vary the intensity as well, so that people become somnolent and go to sleep in an appropriate way. Now, what's the implications of this? Lighting studies have already shown with less sophisticated systems. The first one was done by the DOE through their Pacific Northwest National Labs group, 50% reduction in sleep disturbances, quite a profound result. Harvard followed up with a study on falls, and they saw a 60% reduction. So these studies are beginning to provably link the influence of lighting over the well-being of elders. And we all know that, I don't need to give this audience any more information about this, but falls are costly. They diminish quality of life enormously, especially if there's a fracture. And what we'd really like to stay away from is the emergency room. We'd like to have very many fewer of those trips, especially late at night. We'd like to have fewer workman comps claims from people trying to help individuals who have fallen up from their being on the floor. And this information is starting to be disseminated for some of our deployments to prospective residents, and people are pleased to hear this. In point of fact, our first facility we lit with Perfect Light has been the fastest that particular operator has experienced in terms of filling up. We're looking at a major cost that we can address and diminish for operators using this technology. Here are the products. I'll spend a little bit of time on this. We make a wide plurality of standard commercial fixtures. We also make retrofit kits that go into decorative fixtures, an important part of especially the common areas in elder care. We make controls for these that are automatic, and we call it set and forget controls because they're quite easy to operate. There's also an app that goes with it, Apple and Android, in case setups need to be changed on the fly. And then we've added just recently a solution for the bedside lamps, because the elders do bring in to the facilities many times their own furniture and many times their own lamps. So we felt like we needed to cover the entire area and have a person moving within one lighting plant. We needed a solution for the lamp, and we've just added that to our activities. So I think I'm pretty well on time here, but I will say thank you and encourage any questions that are posed, and happy to answer them.
Neil, I appreciate you providing that wonderful presentation. I always enjoy learning more about your lighting solutions and how they benefit senior living communities. So let's see, we do have a question. How long does it take to install the system typically?
Well, we've done it in new construction rather efficiently because we work with install teams and the architects to prepare everything. And it takes no greater time than installing any other light fixture. In the case of the lamp situation, we've made that even more simple because we envision that also being used by residential. So you screw in a particular type of bulb, you have a small controller. So as long as it takes you to switch the bulbs and hit a go button on the controller is all it provides. It's no more difficult than installing standard lighting. There's a few subtleties to it, but if you needed to renovate a facility and you're looking at taking out the lights and putting in a new, we would certainly work with the installer to make sure that everything is done correctly. And most competent installers are quite familiar with the controls needed for these lights.
Okay, wonderful. Katie has another question for you. And what I will do is I'm going to have her contact information so you can reach out to her about her question after the series. For our next presenter, we have Joey Carney, who is with LifeLoop, and they are a senior engagement and operations platform. So Joey, whenever you are ready to get started, we'd love to see what you'd like to share with us. Thank you.
I think I'm good to go. Thank you, Katie. So like Katie said, my name is Joey Carney. I am the Director of Sales. I've been with LifeLoop for about 6.5 years now. I feel very fortunate to be at a great company and really just be a part of the senior living industry. I do want to give a quick shout out to Parasol Alliance for the opportunity in this outlet, but most importantly, thank you to everyone on this call. I appreciate all that you guys do in caring for older adults. As you can see, our mission here at LifeLoop is helping senior living communities flourish. And we do that by creating a comprehensive operational platform with a focus on resident engagement. So today, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you a few quick slides about our impact that we have on our community partners. I'm going to go through kind of an overall summary of what our platform encompasses. I'm going to show you a quick demo of what our site looks like. And then depending on how quickly I talk, I might have some time here for a couple questions at the end. So a couple key statistics I wanted to talk about here about directly how we impact the resident, the staff, as well as the families that are connected. So this is surveyed through our community partners here. 33% of them say that our platform helps reduce loneliness. 57% say that 57% of staff say that LifeLoop makes their job easier, and 52% report that LifeLoop makes communication easier with the family and loved ones. So this next slide here is going to talk a little bit about our background. So we have been around for 24 years. For those of you that are not familiar, IN2L was started in 1999 as really a kind of a pioneer in resident engagement content, specifically for our industry. LifeLoop was founded in 2014 with really kind of an all-in-one approach to everything non-clinical that we would see in community settings. So in spring of 2022, we decided it was time for us to join forces together and create kind of a best-in-class resident experience. So together, we actually rebranded here in September. We are now known as LifeLoop. We serve 4,600 communities. We're in every state in the US, Canada, as well as the UK. We touch over 480,000 lives by our platform. And one thing that we're extremely proud of is we have an 85% recommendation rate. So we currently do work with 60 out of the top 100 providers. Here's a few of the names that we call client partners, and we would not be where we are at today without them. So kudos there. I don't want to spend too much time on statistics here, but there are a couple in these gray boxes that I do want to touch on. And this is directly what our client partners are saying. So 56% of them say that our platform strengthens their relationships with staff. 81% say it better connects residents with family and friends. 54% say it reduces depression. 78% say it improves alertness for seniors with dementia. 57% said it makes their job easier, which is always good. And 91% say it helps improving tracking of resident attendance. So as I mentioned before, we do quite a few things within our platform. What you'll see there at the top is we do have a resident portal. We also have a connection or a family portal. And then finally, we do have a staff portal. Within all three of those platforms, they do connect in real time. And it touches on this variety of areas that you'll see there. So we build out calendars, signage, transportation, work orders, video and photo sharing, resident tracking, communication, marketing, designer, and then we do have that best-in-class content that is powered by IN2L. So with that said, I want to go ahead and give you guys a quick preview of what our dashboard does look like. I'm not going to have enough time to show you all three portals, but this is what the staff view would look like. On this left-hand side, we can customize this dashboard. So if there's anything that you guys don't want to be showing, or you might have a product in place for that, you can simply toggle that off. We do partner with your EMRs, so we have real-time integrations with Point Click Care and Matrix Care. We're going to be able to pull over all of your guys' demographics here, as well as send activity tracking data back to them. We also have an open API as well as single sign-on, so you can go ahead and import that there if you guys use a different EMR or CRM. Up top here, you're going to see a quick view of our dashboard. So you'll be able to see who is starting to decline on the number of activities that are attended and who is more on a positive uptick here. One thing I do want to touch on is our calendar function. That is really kind of the lifeblood of our platform here. And within that, you'll be able to see you can have as many or few calendars as you want. So when we go to build out these activity calendars, you can go ahead and simply add it to one or multiple types of care or communities. You add the activity name, where it's at, and then we default to the 6 degrees of wellness here. But based on your guys' vitality program, you can definitely customize that. And then you can assign staff to certain activities. 1 hour prior, we do send updates reminding them of certain activities, and you can make it reoccurring. So if it's an activity you do the first Friday of each month, you could be able to have that on your calendar for up to 30 years. You can also allow families to be able to sign up for activities and create an RSVP list. But one of the things when we were first building out the platform, we found that a lot of things were done on pen and paper. So we wanted to streamline that approach. And that's where we kind of went in. And one of those stats I had touched on there was 91% say that it makes their job easier when tracking attendance. And that's because we are hardware agnostic. So we work on any device. Most of the time, staff's just going to download the app on their personal phone or iPad via the Android or Apple Store. As we track attendance here, you can also get why they did not come to an activity or how engaged they were in activity. As soon as you track these activities, it's going to queue what we refer to as an activity feed. So you're going to get a real-time breakdown of everything they've attended over the past month, or you can customize a specific range. And any of the family that is connected here for the connections would get those real-time updates in addition to that. You'll also see we'll have, bios and their likes and dislikes here. We have full reporting on each resident, as well as full community reporting. And you can also view this from a corporate dashboard if you have multiple communities. So we can break it down by types of care setting or specific residents here. I do want to touch on the best-in-class content that we have through IN2L. A lot of our client partners that had used IN2L in the past really just wanted to have more content and make it more accessible. So we brought in 6,000 unique pieces of content that you can access from any device and be able to sort out through here. We also have a full communication platform that integrates with Zoom. So you can do your Zoom video calls directly through here by simply just starting a video call. You do not even have to have a Zoom account. We have an emergency broadcast system. So think of this as a way to get in touch with either internal or external recipients quickly. You can also embed a link in here, add an attachment, or simply just send out a text reminder here as well. I'm getting a little bit short on time here, but a couple quick things I do want to touch on here is we do have a transportation function as well. The nice thing about this is going to integrate with Google Maps, so it will map out your directions. I'm on a call here from Omaha, Nebraska. We have one of the world's best zoos. So when I put that in here, it would simply map out those directions for us and ease the burden on your transportation staff. The other nice thing about this is a family can also put in a transportation request if you guys turn that functionality on. And then we do have a work request function here. So think of this as like a maintenance product. You can also manage all of your IT through here, as well as your to-do list, as well as your preventative maintenance here. And then finally, we do have digital displays or signage. The nice thing about this is we're powered through Amazon Fire Sticks. So any of the TVs you have in your common area, you can simply plug a Fire Stick in. You can broadcast videos and things like that through here. And then because our platform encompasses so much, we're what's called a permission-based platform. So we can customize each of your staff with certain roles and responsibilities. And then they actually can decide how they receive updates, whether that's in-app, text, email, or push. And I believe I only have about 20 seconds left. So I don't know if there's any last minute questions that anybody might have there, Katie.
So I'm not seeing any questions, but if we have any that come through, I will definitely have Joey reach out to you to answer those for you. Thank you so much for that presentation, Joey. And our next presenter is Jim Murphy from Ageless Innovation, presenting about their robotic companion pets and how they are benefiting senior living community residents. So, Jim, whenever you are ready, I am going to let you go ahead and present to all of us. I'm so excited about this one.
Happy Friday, all. Thanks for making time, and thanks to Katie and the team at Parasol Alliance for inviting me to share information today. So whenever we share information about ageless innovation and our Joy for All companion pets, we always like to start with our purpose or mission statement, which is to reimagine how we positively live and age together by unleashing the power of play. And for folks who serve older adults, like you all have, I imagine, for many, many years, like I have for many, many years, that might sound like an unusual purpose or mission statement until you hear the origin story of our flagship product, which is our Joy for All companion pets. So the companion pets were actually birthed within the walls of Hasbro about 8 years ago, and it was based upon an interesting consumer insight of an existing Hasbro product that at the time was targeted for a category that was 4 to 12-year-old girls. And what the team who invented the Joy for All brand and the companion pets found was that this existing Hasbro product was being purchased a meaningful amount of time for older adults, for older loved ones, who were gifting it to an older loved one who had Alzheimer's or some sort of other form of dementia, or perhaps could just no longer take care of a pet, but had a lot of empathy and affinity for animals. So with that being said, the team at the time within Hasbro created the Joy for All brand, co-created it with older adults and their family caregivers, and created an enhanced version of the product, beginning with the Joy for All cat, followed by the Joy for All dog a year later. And as you can imagine, within the walls of Hasbro, where the Joy for All brand lived for the first 3 years of its existence, it was really about distribution through retail and direct consumer channels. But it did garner the interest of a lot of healthcare and academic organizations, and that's really where it piqued my interest. I was actually at United Healthcare in the Medicare arena at the time, and ultimately ended up leading a study that had me become pretty evangelical about the companion pets and their ability to impact older adults. So if you're not familiar with them, the primary input that we got from older adults was as lifelike as possible. And then the family caregivers rang in and said, but affordable. And that's really the balancing act that we pursued relative to the development of the companion pets, was lifelike yet affordable. And so the cats, we joke, act like cats do, in that they're somewhat unpredictable. They have what we call a random play pattern, but generally they're reacting to touch, light, and sound. They have real feel fur. They might bat their eyes, twitch their ears, roll over or purr. And the purring was a really important piece, and especially as it relates to folks with Alzheimer's or related dementia. So I'll play this really short video just to be able to demonstrate how interactive they are. And so the pups, a little bit more like a pup, like you'd expect, a little bit more predictable in general, although we know some of them are unpredictable. Similar to the VibraPurr technology of the cat, the pups were designed to have this also kind of soothing function, which is this real feel heartbeat. So when you pet the pup for a little while, you're going to get this subtle heartbeat, which people once again find very calming, very soothing. The pup's going to respond to your voice through bark-back technology, and he moves his head to be able to try and find where the voice is in the room, and moves his head and wags his tail. So the two primary use cases, as many of you could envision, and I'm sure there are folks on this call who have experienced our Joy for All companion pets before and kind of witnessed the impact that they can make, are folks with Alzheimer's disease and related dementias, and individuals who are socially isolated and lonely, knowing that both of those are huge, hairy bird nests of problems. And there's certainly a lot of interrelationship between the two, right? We know that folks with dementia are at increased risk relative to social isolation and loneliness, and folks who are socially isolated and lonely are certainly at greater risk for Alzheimer's or related dementia, and there's an incredible amount of comorbidity. But collectively, we're talking about tens of millions of older adults throughout the US. So we've had over a dozen studies that have been pursued with our companion pets. They're an evidence-based intervention. We have distributed approaching 700,000 companion pets since inception. And throughout these studies, it really rolls up to a common set of psychosocial benefits in the form of improved quality of life through reduced feelings of depression, isolation, and loneliness, help to provide a sense of purpose. For those with dementia, it mitigated dementia-related decline and associated behavioral issues such as agitation, aggressiveness. Many of our senior living communities we work with, and we work with hundreds throughout the US, report that it helps with symptoms of sundowner syndrome. And then it provided an engaging experience that calms individuals without the use of medication. And similarly, through 3 of the studies in senior living long-term care communities, and many of our customers report that they've been able to reduce the administering of psychotropic medications. It improves cognitive activity and capability. And then lastly, because we're within the industry umbrella here, I'll use the B word, the burden, reduce the burden of care for care partners, both professionals and family caregivers. And this last video that I'll share before I wrap is a brief illustration, because frankly, when I first encountered the companion pets, I thought about it relative to pet ownership and the impact of an individual. But I think it's really important to showcase, and this is a community dwelling individual, but you can see and think of the same dynamic within a senior living community as it really impacts everyone around them as well. So I'm going to play this video quickly and then wrap up.
Being a caregiver is not always a lot of fun. It can be a lonely world. When I gave him the cat, he held it, looked at it, talked to it, engaged with it, and then you've got an instant spark. Having the cat and interacting with it gives me some time that I can step out. It's wonderful to me, you know. The grandkids start petting it, and they have something happy to talk about. Any moment of happiness or joy or giggle is good. And believe me, the cat provides that. A lot of the first feelings that you get are of happiness and joy. And oh, this is fun. That's good for all of us.
So hopefully that brought a little fun to your Friday. I know we're at time, so I'm going to stop sharing and turn it back to Katie.
Thank you so much, Jim. I always enjoy learning more about you all's companion pets. And I wanted to thank everybody for joining Parasol Alliance's 4th Thought Leadership Series of the year. Our next Thought Leadership Series will be February 23rd of next year. And I will be sending out an email with the recording for today's series. Also, that email at the bottom of it will have a link where you can register to attend the February 23rd series. And we will be releasing more information about the speakers after that point. And also, we appreciate you joining our series and hope you have a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.